All right, so today we're going to analyze Infinity Chamber, which is available on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime. Yep.
Yeah, very good. All right, I'm going to hit you with the log line. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, this is good. This is awesome. You're going to love this log line. A man trapped in an automated prison must outsmart a computer in order to escape. Look
Nailed
at
it.
that. Bare bones.
Nailed it.
Easy. Tells you exactly what it is.
Yep. That is that's the standard of like, this is log line.
I really enjoyed this one. So this was written and directed by Travis Malloy, who did Pandorum, and I thought Pandorum was pretty awesome.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
He wrote Pandorum.
I love that movie.
I know, it's a solid sci-fi horror. And so I was like, oh, cool. So he did this thing all by himself. This is low budget. This was like around 100,000. That was it.
Ah, nice.
So
he shot it in Utah, I think. It looks like they shot in Utah.
He shot it in like 4 different states, and at one point he had rented out like a technology park, and so he was trying to film this thing at the same time while guys were like doing woodworking next door with chainsaws and bandsaws and stuff. So if you could only imagine, like, this guy, he went bare bones budget, and I think he made a really cool film.
Yeah, I mean, this was a great, just self-contained story that worked really well. It really did.
I really enjoyed it. So Infinity Chamber is about a guy in a dystopian future who, through mistaken identity, is thrown into this prison cell where he has to relive the same moment over and over as a computer program is trying to decipher his memories and find out what he's hiding from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really liked it.
Clever. Yeah, really, really clever. It took, I mean, you know, it takes you kind of a second once you realize that that's why this almost feels like time loop is kind of happening.
Yeah.
But then you understand, like, there's these little things that change every single time, and I'm wondering, why are things changing every single time? Well, that's why. Because our memories are always skewed, you know.
Absolutely, it is slightly different each time.
Yeah.
And that's through, you know, through recollection. You're gonna look through things with rose-colored glasses, or approach it differently, or just be fuzzy in general. I totally agree.
Right.
I think the first act of this script was really cool, or this film was really cool, but it was very like, I'm stuck in a cell. I'm going crazy. This computer is caretaking for me, and I don't know what to do, and why am I here? And so we were kind of going through the motions of, let's get all of that out of the way before we really dive into what's really going on. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, and I did like it. I like the less is more kind of feeling, where really from the start, as the audience, we're going on the same journey and discovering together what. Yeah. So we don't know anything he doesn't know.
I like that. Knows, I do. I like films. They grab me when I don't know more than the character does, because now we're experiencing it together. And I think that gets you behind the character more, because we don't really know much about the central character, Frank. We don't really know much about him. They didn't really use any of the tropes to make him likable or empathetic. He's a guy that's in a coffee shop looking at a photo, and you go, oh, that's weird, and then he's taken, and we don't know anything more. So putting you on a journey with him where you're trying to discover alongside with him, I think is a good way to get an audience behind a character.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's interesting that, like, you feel that it was kind of more just get it all out of the way at first, because I didn't necessarily feel that way. I felt like there was still more I wanted to know. Even as it started to pick up and go, I still had more questions, even more questions than before.
Right. I think for me, what it was is by Act 2 is when we get into a lot of humanity. Oh, and for sure. That's when I really started to become invested in the character. Gotcha. Act 1 to me felt very sci-fi. It felt very, I'm in a futuristic prison. Look at all these cool things that are going on. I've got this guy in a camera talking to me that I can't really figure out. But then once we get into the humanity of it, where he starts to fall for the girl at the coffee shop, but then knows she's not real, where he meets the guy in the other cell who's an inspiration of strength to him, and then watches that man over time become broken.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that was like, whoa, this is going places I didn't think it would, and I love that.
Yeah, that was up in the stakes a lot when we discovered that character is right near him or next to him.
Right. That's so cool. And some of the show notes I found out is they filmed those scenes a year apart. Those actors never met. They never played lines off of each other.
Wow. That's
absolutely
cool.
Incredible. Yeah,
that's
absolutely incredible.
That's the beauty of independent filmmaking in general, right?
Yeah.
But you can do it in the right way where it's seamless to the audience, and they would never know.
Yeah, I know. It's so well done. And I mean, it's a testament to the filmmaker and to the actors, and to be able to pull it off. And I love that line. And I really love the discovery of how the character discovers Howard isn't real.
Yeah. Yes.
You know,
where he hears the inflections, right?
Right. Yeah.
In his voice.
Where he starts yelling at him, same response. Talking to him, same response. Whispers to him, same response. And then it clicks. Yeah, I love that, because even the audience is fooled.
And what I found interesting was that he started to actually memorize, essentially, or remember. There's a pattern of how he says things. So his tone and his tonality changes every time he answers the same question, but it's the same exact verbiage.
Right.
He knows there's 5 different responses he always gives. They're always in this order.
Yep.
That kind of thing, which was really cool. I love that play.
Yeah, I loved it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, Frank.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
Frank.
Yeah. It was great. It was so great. And talk about a character that you don't see on screen, other than for us. And it was so well, like, that was a complete character. It
was. And it was cleverly done, because when we first meet Frank in this prison cell, we're shown a brief scene of a control station that we believe is Howard, right? Yeah. We believe the control station is a guy by Howard, and there's nobody in the chair, but you assume he's like getting a coffee or something. Yeah, right, because he's not there. So there's so we realize, okay, so we think there's a guy who's just working a 9-to-5 shift who's going to watch this guy. And then we learned that Frank really knows computers, which is kind of weird, which is a nice setup and foreshadowing for later on, the point where Frank can even discover, like, what chipset he's using and what software version he is, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's the way that we've kind of talked about in previous, when we've done analyzing before, where is it convenient, or does it make sense with that character? And I feel like that really worked in this film versus some other ones where we've been like, that's just too much of a convenience for that character.
No, it really worked. I think you're absolutely right. I think Howard was very much so a fleshed out character, and I thought it was super cool. So let's discuss the trippy angle.
Okay.
All right. So he begins the story looking at a wall full of photos, right? That's how we first introduced to him, and we don't know why he's so interested in these photos. We find out later on that the computer virus he had been hiding behind one of those photos, which wow, what a great revelation. I thought that was so cool. Didn't see it coming, and the director hints at it here and there by showing the USB stick, but we don't know what he's talking about, and then flashing to the coffee shop. So a lot of thought went into that through line.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing. Do you think he got out?
I don't. That's good. That's a good question.
That's a great question, because I love the ending. It's a happy ending, right?
It is a happy ending.
It's a happy ending.
I have a question about the ending, but I don't understand. There was one element where, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, well, come on.
I mean, but at the end, he actually obviously gets out of the cell before he goes to talk to Howard himself.
Right.
And there's a flash of her in a cell.
Yeah.
And then they never go back to it, and they never explain why that visual is there. And it's either he feels like he's leaving her behind because that was the memory, or I thought, oh gosh, has she been there the whole time?
Right. No, it's a flash of her in the cell that he escapes of. And so the implication there, the visual subtext there, is that he's leaving her behind, right?
Yeah. Right.
She was part of the the prison.
Mm-hmm.
But then he ends up going back to the coffee shop where he meets her again for the first time.
Right.
And she plays the same routine over, which is weird, right?
But she doesn't, it's not her name. She changes her name.
She changes her name.
Yeah.
Well, good point. But let me ask you this. Why is it on the wall where he's looking at all those photos, those were all real places that he went past?
Yeah, see, that's that.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. There's
and then we hang on an old dead camera of Howard.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I think the director and the writer of this did something that's incredibly difficult to do and allows you an ending that is yes to all the questions.
Yeah, you can interpret it how
that's great. You know, because usually with endings like this, oh, you lean one way, you lean the other, like with Inception. More than likely he got out in Inception, but the question is left in the air, possibly he wasn't. But in this instance, did he get out? Yes. Does he have a happy ending? Yes. Is he still in the prison? Yes. I mean, he very well could be, and we don't know. And I love that.
Yeah, and for me, it was like this play on you're never going to be able to get out or escape your own memories, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was that leftover, this will be a memory, or it is a memory, regardless if he got out or not, right?
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, he's there. He's got the happy ending. He's the hero of the story. And we had the subplot of showing what happens if you can't get out, right? The one guy takes his life, which is a great subplot, because we want to use a subplot to show the stakes of what can happen to the central character. So the other guy taking his own life, perfectly executed.
Right. And I was really excited at that moment. At that moment, I felt like this is where there's that turn of, you know, ultimately he's going to have to become a computer himself and out-trick the computer. And I just love that. I love that.
I thought it was great. You know, for me, the hard thing was they beat this character up so many times. I'm like, okay, we definitely got to be at the midpoint now. No, like they knock him even further down. Like, this guy's gone through so many like midpoint deaths. It's like they're just knocking the hell out of him.
I know, the whole desert thing, and then like just come on. I was like,
It gets the water and it's all a dream. Oh my God, this guy.
And then we're like, God, you can't escape. Like, how do you do this?
Oh my God, it was so good. I loved it. Now, what I really did like also is how they showed over time the machine breaking down.
Yes. Yeah.
And that was such a great visual, because it's subtle. Like, you see, well, his drink only got filled halfway full. That's kind of weird.
Right.
You know, or the food is a little off, but they don't really harp on it until you see Howard powers down. And then you go, oh.
Yeah. Yeah. He's trying to conserve energy or
yeah.
It's
fast.
So go ahead.
Does he have a virus? Does he have the virus? Are they running out of power? Are they, you know, there's all kinds of theories to start going.
That's kind of what I likened it to, was that he was running out of power. Essentially, at some point, the computer's going to die if you can't plug it back in and charge it, right?
Yeah, I thought it was great. And there's no more humans. And you know, at first he's like, well, I'm just going to get people to come out here and help me. And then it turns out there's no people.
There's no people, right?
Yeah, it's just more robots.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that sense of like, it's giving you that hope.
Yeah.
Pulling it away again.
Yeah, it's really solid.
And solid performances overall.
Oh my God, so good. And again, no budget with this thing. Like the outfit that the character wears was an outfit from Pandorum.
Oh, get out. I didn't even realize that either.
Is.
Oh, I love it more.
I went and immediately watched Pandorum because I really like this guy's stuff. So I immediately watched Pandorum after this just to have a nice refresher. And I was like, oh, look at that. It's the same outfit. They just removed the name tag. But again, if you're on a budget, use what you have.
Use what you have. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can tell. It's not that you can tell like it's poorly done. it was just so well executed with the simplicity. And sometimes simple is hard. It's not like it's easy.
Yeah.
But it worked really well. And, you know, I think to myself, and we ask this a lot sometimes when we watch a lot of these kind of lower budget or independent films, is would it have been as good had they had more money? You know, if the budget was bigger, would we get the same story? Would it feel the same?
I think it would have been more flash. I think we would have had even more spectacle. But the key part of the story was there. The emotional element was there. The theme was there. You know, what makes you human? What makes you a man? Is it your memories? You know, and then exploring that and having fun with it and showing how he falls in love with this construction of his mind, who is this girl that works in the coffee shop, right? But he knows that she's a construction of his mind, but he goes with it anyway because he's a lonely guy starving to death in a prison. So yeah, okay, I'll fall in love with the cute barista. Why not?
Yeah, build the life in your mind. Why not?
And then they discuss it and they have an open discussion with it, and she fights and tries to help him and all these cool things. And I just thought it was great. I really did enjoy it. I have no notes, which is awesome.
I don't either. Honestly, it was, you know, I sat down like, okay, it's going to be a sci-fi film. And that story, I really just love the story. Sometimes with sci-fi, you get so wrapped up, obviously, like you said, in kind of the spectacle or the sci-fi aspect, and the plot is kind of missing, or that story, but it wasn't here. It worked. It worked really well.
They had some sci-fi elements. They had some drone shots. They had some, you know, some explosions. I was very happy with that. I like my explosions.
Gotta have my explosions.
You know, and so they were able to work that in, but you can tell like they weren't really trying to push the budget on it. They just had a couple of quick shots to really keep painting the illusion of this is a dystopian future. And I thought it was great. And I love all the different kind of sets they went on. I mean, this guy filmed it everywhere and anywhere he went over years. So I mean, that tells you how a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of smart filmmaking and dedication you can create something special that ends up on a streaming service.
And it just, and to me, I wouldn't have, I mean, at the end, I was like very self-contained, probably low budget, but I would never have really thought, okay, this is one of those ones where it was pieced together like Frankenstein almost.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? So awesome. Very
Such
cool.
a great job. Such a great job.
And I'm just happy that we finally got like a real sci-fi film.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, we did it. We got a sci-fi.
We got a real one.
Excited.
We didn't get like a pretend sci-fi film. That was actually a drama.
It was actually a drama. But we did it this time. Yay.
Do you have any thoughts on the next film?
I feel like we should jump to comedy. I'm ready to do a comedy.
Let's do a comedy.
We haven't really done one. But I don't have one right off the top of my head. So if anybody out there has suggestions,
we take requests. Tip your wages.
We do.
This episode is brought to you by the Script Summit Screenplay Contest, where you have the chance to win a cash prize or a contract with a Hollywood talent manager. Any final thoughts on this, Kristy?
This is one that I definitely would say, hey, sci-fi fan, recommend it. Go check it out. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if you're an indie filmmaker and you want to figure out how to make a low budget film that is smart, savvy, and well made, Infinity Chamber on Amazon Prime.
Yep, do it.
Definitely.